states, they got nothing at all. The Carolinas, Wyoming, Idaho. I don't even think there's legislation in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, except the marijuana revenues. But, and by the way, you know, I've heard from some listeners to the show around the country who are pot farmers, and they're kind of freaking out because there's like a virus that's tearing through pot plants. Like the entire marijuana industry is freaking out. It's so far primarily in California, but I guess some really, really infectious virus that's just burning through pot farms. And so pot farmers who just a few years ago, obviously, probably saw fast track to getting rich. Not an easy way to make your money, but they're looking at billions of dollars in damage. They say it grows unseen for months in cannabis plants, wiping out a crop just as it would be ready to be harvested. And so they're hoping, and again, this not only affects the farmers, it affects us, the consumer of marijuana. They found it first a couple of years ago at a pot farm in Santa Barbara County, and it has spread since then.
The new pandemic's here.
And it's affecting your weed.
Yeah, I actually care about this one.
That's what I'm saying. It causes your plants to shrivel. It drops the THC amount. It doesn't do anything good. Doesn't do anything good to the pot. It'd be great if they were like, there's a virus tearing through California's pot farms, and it makes it 3 times as potent. Nothing like that.
No one needs that.
Meh. Yeah, weed is a lot stronger than it used to be, boy. So anyway, this is tearing through the pot farms out there on the West Coast, and they're worried about the rest of the country or anybody who is in the marijuana industry. That'd be tough. Be a hard thing to deal with. Speaking of that app, you can always leave us messages there too. Little red talkback button if you want to do that.
Alan, this is Rich down in Jacksonville, Florida, listening back to the podcast, and you guys are discussing times when you've pooped your pants. I used to work at a Goodyear changing tires, and I lifted the tire off the ground and strained myself a little too hard, and the brown doo-doo happened. I had to tell my manager what happened and go home, but he asked that I return because we were super slammed. Hate the show. Bye.
Boy, yeah, you're on the clock. You're like, hey, man, I got to go change my pants. You change them pants, you get back and start changing these tires.
Yeah.
We're swamped today.
Not the lube stop we were looking for.
No. Alan, that's just what Big Pot wants you to think. Oh, so you're saying that I see. It's going to be supply and demand. They're going to say, well, our supply has been decimated. This means that we're going to make even more money. Alan, it always scares the shrimp out of me when you come back from a break with Willie Nelson. That's what Bill said.
Yeah, when I walked in and it was on. I was like, uh-oh, did he die?
Is he all right?
Yeah.
Yes. That virus is transmitted through clones, not seeds. A lot of the brand name strains will be lost that are available only in clone. Okay. Well, there you go. Alan, have you or Mary seen the movie The Price We Pay on Peacock?
Nope.
No. I've seen it as I've been scanning. I haven't watched the movie. It's Stephen Dorff
Who's that?
and Emil Hirsch, if you know who that is.
Is this a scary movie?
Yes, it's a horror film. But it looks like maybe it's more of like a people's car breaks down and there's a weirdo family in the woods.
Yeah.
Looks like it might be that kind of movie.
Dude.
Not a guy in a mask running around, but I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it.
You know what I realized about the horror movies? I want them to be like my Figure It Out books. Did I already say this? Did we already talk about this?
I don't know about that. No.
How that's why I think I'm so let down by all these like thriller, scary movies is because the books I read I enjoy so much, and they're legitimate books by real authors. So they're like very well written and very compelling and very exciting. And so I think that's where I have my standards at. I think
So
that's
wait,
where my standards
the
are.
films that you're watching aren't by real writers and directors?
No, a horror script is not the same caliber of a like well-known author's novel. I don't think, at least not the ones that I've been watching.
Okay.
Is that fair to say, Alan?
Yeah, sure. You like what you like.
I feel like horror scripts they're kind of meant to be bad.
Horror scripts are meant to be bad?
Like it's like okay in that genre if they are. Like it's okay for a horror movie to not be very good.
Yeah, but if it is good, people are like, man, that's,
Yeah.
I think if a movie's well written, you probably need less gore.
Yes. And that's what I'm looking for.
The
like
gore,
my books.
Right. The gore takes the place of
Story.
Yeah. And again, it depends on what you're looking for. There's people who are like, I just want blood. I just want there to be mutilations and, in which case, if you're the person making that movie, you know that. You're like, yeah, that's why the script is 10 pages long.
Right.
Because we don't need all that.
Like how much blood you got?
But if you get a movie that's well written and it's pretty gross, I mean, that's more of a unicorn too, but there are movies like that are, I don't know. Somebody, I thought I was pretty clear about what a turd this movie In the Earth was, but somebody messaged me and recommended it to me, and I just thought it was terrible. It was one of these kind of like folk horror movies or environmental horror movies that was getting all this attention because the director's really good. He's done some other great films, and I was excited to watch it. I just thought it was terrible. It's about deadly spores and the whole thing. It's weird. It's kind of psychedelic, but I didn't care for it at all. So if you're a person who keeps recommending that to me, I saw it. I didn't care for it. I'm not going to tell you to stop because clearly you're on some kind of mission. And who am I? You're out there trying to follow your bliss. I got some sperm news, by the way. Sperm news! How about Al Pacino?
This guy.
This
He's
guy.
1,000 years old.
Oh, my God. This guy's amazing. Robert De Niro? I don't know. Robert De Niro just had a kid, right?
They're all having kids, and they're like millions of years old, dude. Their sperm is dust. How is this happening?
I mean, Al Pacino, I don't think Al Pacino...
Apparently it's not dust. Apparently it's still creamy.
But Al Pacino didn't even have kids at all till he was like 50. He had a couple with Beverly D'Angelo. They had some twins who are like grown-up kids now. And he has another one with a former girlfriend. And then this current girl, she has a type. She's dated Mick Jagger, and like she likes older, rich guys. And everybody's like, she's clearly a gold digger, except she's really rich because she comes from oil money. And so her name's Noor Al-Fala. Al Pacino is 83 years old, and that's a hard 83. If you've seen Al Pacino recently, it's a hard 83. And she's 29. And so the gold digger thing goes right out the window. To me, it's much more interesting that she's rich because that means that this is genuinely her type. Like, they know what's up. She's like, I like older guys. I got father issues, probably. And I just like old, rich guys. She's 8 months pregnant. And they've been together since April of last year. So she's a month away from having Al Pacino's kid. She dated Mick Jagger. She dated a couple of European billionaires. De Niro is a few years younger than Al Pacino. De Niro's 79, and he just had a baby with his girlfriend. Now, Al Pacino would have to live to 101 for the kid to turn 18, right? Well, no, if he's dead, the kid will still turn 18, but I mean, just doing the math there. And people are like, oh, these guys are rich and old, but she's rich. So it's fascinating to me because she didn't need the money. She dated Eli Roth, dated Mick Jagger. And if you're 83 and you're Al Pacino, you're like, this is amazing. This is great. I can't believe this girl's letting me do this, right? He was like 54 when she was born. That's when people get a little queasy. When they do the when she was born part.
Math.
Yeah, when they do the backwards math, they go, this guy already had like 3 older kids when she was born.
How many Oscars did he have?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
There was a great.
He had already been in Heat. Like,
I think there was a bit on SNL that I think is an instant classic when Tina Fey and Amy Poehler hosted. It was called Meet Your Second Wife. Remember that bit?
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
Meet Your Second Wife.
Yeah.
And they were bringing out, it was these guys on a game show, and they were bringing out women who got increasingly younger until one of them comes out. She's like 9. He's like this, and they cut to the wives in the audience who were the first wives. In 10 years, you'll meet this girl, whatever. So, yeah, she dated Mick Jagger, who is 79. They thought she was dating Clint Eastwood, who's 93, but I think she was just at a party that he was at. But she's dated a 61-year-old Dutch billionaire. She just has a type. She comes from oil money. And so you're around wealthy people. You're in the same circles. And if you're somebody who's like, these two aren't going to get married, her and Al Pacino. And what's the matter with that? He's like, yeah, why not? Some people are, they're into having kids later in life. I'm an old dad. I ain't 83. But oldish for a dad. So, yeah, he has 3 adult kids. A younger one with a former girl. I didn't know he had that many kids. I thought he and Beverly D'Angelo had twins, and that was it. So, everybody's like, she's going to be changing a lot of diapers, that whole thing. But, come on. I was more surprised at Robert De Niro because he famously lost so much money over the years from his divorce and all that kind of stuff. Al Pacino's never been married. I don't think. I think he was famously like, I'm not getting married. But he and Beverly D'Angelo, remember Beverly D'Angelo? She was the mom in National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah, she's great.
She's, Griswold, Ellen Griswold, Beverly D'Angelo.
Good for him.
So I think he got her back in the day, yeah. I mean, those kids are all grown up with her. And then a woman named Jan Tarrant was, I guess, an ex of his too. But you figure if you're that old and you're that wealthy, you're going to be surrounded by, there are only a handful of legendary actors. You got Jack Nicholson, who's, you've seen Jack Nicholson recently.
You got kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
1 or 2.
Jack
You
Nicholson.
got any new ones coming? You gotta,
I don't know about
step
that.
up, Jack.
No. Nope. I don't think he seems like he's been spending more of his time in the kitchen, not the bedroom, as it were. But this Jan Tarrant dated Al Pacino like in the late 80s. And she's the mother of his oldest child, I guess. So that was before Beverly D'Angelo had the kids. Anyway, who cares? But everybody's making a big deal about Al Pacino and this girl. I say good for them. You follow your bliss. Now, less cute in sperm news is the woman who was filing suit against her OBGYN after she found out by DNA that he was the father of her child.
These guys. Oh.
You can't just dump your stuff in there.
Well, here's the thing, though. This guy just died in a plane crash. That's why this is back in the news. So I don't know if they were currently involved in some kind of litigation, but this guy died in a plane he made. He died over the weekend.
It's pretty impressive, though.
Huh?
I said, that's pretty impressive, though.
Not when it falls apart midair and you crash to the ground. What's impressive about that?
But the fact that he
That's how
got
John
up in the
Denver
air.
died. Huh?
But the fact that he made a plane that got him up in the air, yeah, the other stuff is messed up, but how many of us could even get it off the ground?
Yeah,
Well,
but if
it's a
you
kid, it's not like he built it.
But also it's not hard to get a plane off the ground.
Get it back on safely. That's the tough part.
Yeah, basic physics. Right. You remember 9/11. This guy died when the hand-built airplane he was in fell apart mid-flight and crashed. 72-year-old doctor from Rochester. And he was the passenger, I guess. He had a pilot with him. They both died. And the wings became detached from the fuselage. Imagine that. And so when the wings fall off, you just fall straight down. And I guess they said they went west for like another 1,000 yards because you're up there, and there's going to be some,
Yeah, you
I
got
guess,
some
glide to
momentum.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got some momentum. So, but this guy was a well-known OBGYN in Western New York. Anti-abortion protesters were always out in front. But this woman was suing him because she said, it turns out that this guy is probably my real dad because DNA told her that she was related to one of the doctor's daughters. So this whole thing. So I don't know if they were still engaged in any litigation or what, but you think part of her, if there was an ongoing lawsuit and now this guy dies in a dumb handmade plane.
Like, bitch, I want my money.
And forget the guy, right? He's just up there on the fumes of his hubris. Who's the pilot that you get to go up with you in that plane? Hey, you want to fly my handmade plane? Yeah. Because you figure if the guy knows what he's doing, he's going to be checking the rivets. Hey, man, are these wings supposed to be this loose? Yeah, it's fine. I think that's how John Denver died.
Yeah,
25 years ago. He had a handmade plane that he crashed into a lake or an ocean